Hi there. Thank you for joining UnSCRIPted. I'm Angela Kashuba, Dean of the UNC Eshelman School of Pharmacy. We have an amazing community here at the school, all working toward a shared goal of solving the world's most pressing healthcare challenges. I'm excited for you to hear unscripted stories of faculty, staff, students, alums, and partners. Today, I have invited Sterling Koonce and his daughter, Grayson Koonce, to join me in my office for a conversation. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for the invitation.
So, Sterling, you are an 87 alum.
I am.
And also owner of Koonce Drug Company.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
and Mary Grayson, you are a pharmacy student here.
Yes, ma'am.
At the Eshelman School of Pharmacy. And I think it is such a treat because you represent a third and fourth generation pharmacists and alumni, students and alumni of the school, which I think is terrific. So can you talk a little bit about the history of your pharmacy family?
Sure. My grandfather attended UNC. He graduated in 1903, followed by my dad in 1948, and then me in 1987.
Mm-hmm. And then me in 2025.
That's awesome. So, Mary Grayson, you've been very much integrated into the pharmacy profession with your mom and your dad and your grandparents. But has there been anything surprising to you in coming to pharmacy school and learning about pharmacy from the UNC perspective?
Yeah, of course. One thing that I don't think I was expecting is all of the extracurriculars we have at the pharmacy school here.
Okay.
Everybody is so involved in whether it's like CAPS or like a social organization. So I've had a really good time being able to make an impact outside of the classroom. And volunteer at things like the SHAT clinic or with outreach. I've also really enjoyed my experience in Phi Delta Chi.
Yes.
Able to kind of make some more memories with my classmates, doing different things outside of the classroom. So
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about PDC. What are the most memorable activities that you've been participating in?
Yeah, we do a formal every year, so that's always really fun.
Okay.
And last year we had a 100-year banquet, and a lot of the alumni actually came back from Phi Delta Chi National and that went to UNC. So I was able to meet a lot of those people, which was really fun to network with them. And a few of them even like knew my dad, so that was really fun to get to build that community even more.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it must be interesting dinner table conversation to talk about how pharmacy has changed, even from your father to what you're doing, to Mary Grayson, what you might be doing next. Can you talk a little bit about those transformations?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. I was looking at the display, and I was like, it's kind of depressing because that was like me for part of my career with the manual typewriter and the prescription files. It's purely dispensing before computers when I was in high school. Since then, it's changed dramatically to everything being computerized, and with the PBMs kind of inserting themselves in the process has changed a lot of things. I think the past 5 or 10 years has been more challenging, but it's also been more exciting with some of the opportunities coming out with the clinical collaborations with physicians, and I think it's an exciting time.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you talking about the opportunities. So tell me about the things that you have been doing to kind of transform a community pharmacy business into something that's quite a bit greater.
Sure. Well, my wife and I opened up another retail store in where I live now in our hometown in Tabor City. And then we opened up the long-term care pharmacy, which was a whole nother animal, but it's wonderful. We've really enjoyed that. From that, we had the opportunity to manage the clinic in Chadbourne. That's right across from our drugstore when the physician there passed away, and it was the only large clinic in town, so we wanted to keep it open for the community. And Lord works in mysterious ways, because when that happened, then we had been wanting to integrate a clinical pharmacist into our practice and into our company.
Yeah.
And so with having the practice already there and the customer base, we were able to insert a clinical pharmacist in there, and now they're doing the collaborative work, doing the annual wellness visits and remote patient monitoring and the whole gamut of services that Medicare pays for, and so hopefully helping pave the way for newer graduates to expand their role as that continues to grow.
Yeah. What I love about your story is that you see a need for patients and then you try and fill that gap. What do you feel is sort of the biggest impact of having pharmacists in a community?
Oh, gosh. I could talk about that for the rest of the time. Having a personal relationship with the patients and the customers is everything. We're the easiest access of the healthcare team.
Yes.
And people take advantage of that, and that's a good thing.
Yes.
Taking it a step further in the medical clinic, we get more intimately involved in why they're taking their medicine and actually get to spend quality time with them, counseling them, and following up with them, as opposed to in the retail store, it's more kind of a quick, people want to get in and out,
Right.
Which is understandable. Yeah. So it's a whole different animal, and I think it's much more gratifying that you're really more personally involved in their healthcare decision.
Yeah.
It's been fun to see it transition to where you're actually intimately involved in
Right.
their outcomes, and
Right.
and how good they're doing. If what the medicine you're giving them over here, is it working?
Right.
And we've always been you pay by what you make on dispensing.
Yeah.
And that does not work anymore. It also it devalues what we do,
right.
and what we can do. We can have, and we do have, a tremendous impact on the patient's health, which also directly impacts healthcare spend. So there needs to be more models, and I know it's coming. I think it's evolving, but there needs to be a better model where the pharmacists get reimbursed commensurate with the outcomes of the patient.
Yeah, with the clinical care versus product-driven. Yeah. So those are really important words, and I appreciate all that you're doing for your community, because you're having just tremendous impact. It's really wonderful.
Well, thank you. We're trying.
Yeah.
Doing the best we can do with our limited tools.
Yeah. So Mary Grayson, I'm interested in your story, because I understand as you were growing up, you were thinking anything but pharmacy, and yet here you are, almost done with your pharmacy training. So talk to me about growing up in a multi-generational pharmacy family, and what that looked like to you growing up, and how you kind of made that transition
Be nice.
into pharmacy.
Yeah, of course. So growing up, both of my parents are pharmacists, so my dad and my mom. So I always heard the business side of things too, since they do own the pharmacy. And given that my grandpa and my great-grandpa were pharmacists, I just kind of felt like it was expected that one of the daughters were going to go to pharmacy school, especially at UNC. And as I grew up, in high school and in college, starting to work in the retail setting more, I just kind of realized how important pharmacists are and how respected they are in the community. I would see how people would talk about my mom and my dad and how they impacted their lives, and even my grandpa. So I just realized how essential they are, and a pillar of the community. So it made me excited to go to pharmacy school, and thankfully I got in here, and I've had such a good experience.
Oh, that's terrific. So tell me what has been either your favorite class or your favorite experiential rotation. What has really stood out for you?
Sure. My favorite experience so far, I was on my ambulatory care rotation this past summer in Wilmington, and that really opened my eyes to how pharmacists can play a role more clinically.
Yes.
Kind of drawing into what he was talking about, integrating clinical pharmacist practitioners and the collaborative practice agreements. So I was able to see how pharmacists can be involved with making those decisions and prescribing, assisting doctors, because they can have closer follow-ups. So I really enjoyed that, and that really has influenced me to pursue something in ambulatory care, probably in the family practice setting.
Okay.
So, yeah, I had a great experience.
That's terrific. So as you're thinking about what those next steps are after graduation, are you thinking about a residency, or where do you think you'll go next? After you
I'm
graduate?
definitely considering the community-based residency, so that would be
Okay.
like the community pharmacy and the ambulatory care kind of integrated. Either that, or maybe like if I'm able to go straight in with the collaborative practice agreement.
Yes.
But the residency is definitely an easier route to get the clinical
Yeah.
pharmacist practitioner license. So I think that's my end goal.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's terrific.
I like it when she comes home and shows me how dumb I am. She's learned so many things and that I wouldn't know
Yes.
without her exposure to it.
Well, there's so much that's changed, right? I mean, health care, medications, in multiple spaces, things have just increased exponentially. I mean, there's so much more that you need to know now than your dad needed to know, than his dad needed to know. So it's amazing the amount of information now.
Well, and the ironic thing is, I mean, when I graduated way back, 35 plus years ago, we were talking about this then.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's been such a long road to get to where we are now.
Yeah, our education system has really shifted from kind of the product-based a dispensing function and kind of the manufacturing function more to medication management, therapeutic management, being part of that medical team. And there are so many gaps in healthcare now that can really be filled by pharmacists. The way we're training pharmacists now is 4 years of medication specialty training, that there's so much more that I think the pharmacy profession can do, particularly in North Carolina, to fill some of the healthcare
Absolutely.
gaps.
And I think, to me, the goal would be an integrative approach where they're not going here to get their medicine filled and here to get counseling. And here, I mean, where a pharmacy could be enabled in one stop to do it all, dispense it and do the clinical side, and have the time and a way to get paid to totally take care of them instead of kind of piecemealing it together. I mean, provider status is like huge. We need that so bad. I know we've been trying for decades to be recognized, but that is one thing that would be a game changer.
Right. Yeah. We're working on it. Yeah. But, but I think it does become important for the people of North Carolina. And as the only public pharmacy school in North Carolina, it behooves us to serve the people of North Carolina. So I love what you're doing, and I love the fact that you're here and thinking about kind of what that next generation looks like. I want to shift gears a little bit. Sterling, you've been involved in so many boards and advisory councils, have worked with our students and mentoring our students and telling them about what you do. Can you talk about that relationship that you have with the school post-graduation now?
Obviously, I love it. If you hadn't noticed, I talk a lot, so that kind of integrates with my personality well. But it's just fun to get out of the pharmacy and out of the town and meet with the students here, and they always have such good questions. And I think one thing that when I was in school here and even out of school, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Something I kind of try to stress. This generation is all about, seems like, perfection. You got to be top in your class. You got to make all A's, and I think sometimes that makes them afraid to step out and take risk, calculated risk. But I think don't be afraid to fail. I mean, you don't want to fail. Give it your best shot. But it's better to fail than to not try.
I've tried. I love that. Yeah, that's a really important lesson, I think. So, Mary Grayson, I understand your dad is a bit of a hobby farmer.
He tries to be one.
The air quotes around that.
Let's talk about some of the fun stuff, some of the non-pharmacy things that your family does. You want to talk a little bit about the fun?
Sure. As much as I can. We have a few Highland cows, which I know Dr. Kaiser also
Yes,
does.
I love those.
So relate to her on that.
Yes.
We also had some pigs, a few generations of those, some goats, and we have a donkey named Babe.
Oh, I love that. Do you look after any of the animals when you're home?
She looks at them.
Which are your favorite?
I like the goat. Sometimes
Yeah,
I'll feed them some blueberries or like fruit. Yeah, they really like that.
That's pretty popular.
Yeah.
The goats are awesome. It's just you bring home a goat smell after you
Oh.
play with them, which,
Yeah.
but you get used to it. It's-
Yeah.
no, they're fun. Of course, I've got on my wish list for 2024,
Yes.
to my wife's displeasure. We're hoping to get some capybaras, which are the
yes.
Australian. So I want some capybaras and some alpacas.
Wow.
So
Oh my
that's kind of,
goodness.
we'll see. It's just fun.
Yeah, everyone needs a place to kind of clear their mind. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It was so much fun to talk to you both and to hear your stories.
Well, thank you.
Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, and thank you for watching. We love sharing stories of those who make the UNC Eshelman School of Pharmacy excellent. We hope you'll join us for the next episode of UnSCRIPted, conversations with the people who are advancing medicine for life.